whereas a cell phone as a remote detonator. Now, it used to be the only way we had to stop this was with a hail of bullets and a car chase, but that's not necessarily true anymore. We're entering an age where we can stop him with a press of a button from 1,000 miles away. Because whether he knew it or not, as soon as he decided to use his cell phone, he stepped into the realm of cyber. A well-crafted cyber attack could break into his phone, disable the overvoltage protections on his battery, drastically overload the circuit, cause the battery to overheat and explode. No more phone, no more detonator, maybe no more terrorist, all with the press of a button from 1,000 miles away. So how does this work? It all comes...
When I heard this story where pagers were blowing up in the Middle East, and I don't mean by notifications, I mean they were actually exploding. I had thought about two stories that I had covered on this channel. One of those stories being these alerts that have been sent to all of our phones. Another story being this CrowdStrike causing this global outage when it comes to Windows computers and other Windows applications. Hearing this story where these pagers are blowing up in Lebanon really makes me wonder what exactly was placed inside of our devices. Because I had thought originally when this story broke out that a device was placed inside these pagers, and once it hit a certain date and time, this device caused these pagers to all explode at once. This had made the most sense to me because there are always explosions taking place in the Middle East. People are always coming up with different ways to place explosive devices into certain objects to cause them to explode. But I was surprised to learn that that was not the case at all. What is being reported is that these pagers were hacked with a certain malware. This malware caused these pagers to increase in temperature. They started to get hotter and hotter until they finally exploded. Now, pardon my French, excuse my foul language, but you would have to be a real Brussels sprout to believe that something like this could only happen in Lebanon with pagers or in the Middle East. You may be saying, thankfully, I don't live in Lebanon or one of those Middle Eastern countries where something like this could happen, but everything you have can be hacked, even right down to your TV. 99% of the cars you see on the road today are easily hackable through Bluetooth and other means. The 1% are still driving old school muscle cars. This is why you see NASA has a field of old school muscle cars. What was NASA's official response as to why they have these old school cars? Their response was they were studying the aging process, that they need cars that go back to the 1980s so they can study the aging process. Now, who out there really believes that explanation? So before we get back to this story, I just want to mention that anything that can get malware will get malware. Anything that can get hacked will be hacked. But going back to this story here, I am reading from the AP. I do believe they have the most updated article from the time that I'm making this video. They updated this article about 20 minutes ago. The title of this article happens to be Hezbollah hit by a wave of exploding pagers and blames Israel. At least 9 have passed away and thousands injured. Pagers used by hundreds of members of the militant group Hezbollah exploded near simultaneously in Lebanon and Syria on Tuesday, ending the lives of at least 9 people, including an 8-year-old girl, and wounding several thousand, officials said. Hezbollah and the Lebanese government blamed Israel for what appeared to be a sophisticated remote attack. Now, again, they can go back and forth blaming whoever, but when I hear that malware is being placed in devices and causing them to heat up and explode, this reminds me of CrowdStrike. And who owns CrowdStrike? Who developed CrowdStrike? The World Economic Forum. Because it's